Yo, in this video I'm going to share 17 lessons that helped me gain 36 kilograms in 2 years and build a pretty impressive physique, you could say. The first one, just eat more. You're probably not a hard gainer. I used to believe that I was a hard gainer, that I just had a super fast metabolism, that I couldn't gain weight if I tried to, that I just was doomed to stay skinny. And that was the excuse that I used for months and months and months. I sat there saying to myself, yeah, I'm a hard gainer. I have a fast metabolism, that's why I'm skinny. I eat a lot, but I'm just skinny. That's what I would tell people. But it wasn't the case. I just wasn't eating enough. I really wasn't. But I sat there trying to convince myself, trying to reassure myself that it was my fault that I was skinny. And you're probably not a hard gainer if you're watching this. Most people aren't hard gainers. There's a very rare amount of people that are actually hard gainers, and even then, you could still gain weight, even as a hard gainer. It would be harder, of course, it's more difficult, but you can still gain weight. It's not an excuse. Maybe you've been dealt a bad card, of course, it's not easy, but you can still find a way. And we can see many cases of people out there who were hard gainers that still build an amazing physique. Like, for example, Joe Fraser. Joe Fraser, you can go watch him on YouTube. He's like a very famous YouTuber. And he was a hard gainer. That was an actual case of a hard gainer. And still, look at him now. It's like he's big, he's muscular and everything. Even as a hard gainer. So you're probably not a hard gainer. You're at least a normal gainer, or you might actually be someone who gains muscle and weight fairly quickly. Second thing, training at the same time every day. This is something that helped me so much. When I first started training, I would just train when I felt like training. At the time when I was just forced to train. Like, I would wake up. Those were the good times, man. Those were the good times when I first started on this journey. I would wake up, let's watch some random videos on YouTube, maybe watch an anime on Netflix, and then I would think about training. Don't do it. Push it forward. Push it back. Push it back. Push it back to later on in the day, and I would just think about it, ruminate about it, and then at some point, it would get so late that I was forced to train because I knew, okay, if I don't train now, I'll fall asleep without training. That's what I would do, and the chances of me actually missing my workouts were a lot higher back then. Because when you get to the point where it's the end of the day, you still haven't trained. It's like, bro, you're like, you have so many excuses to actually not train when you don't have a clear plan, a clear moment in the day where you know, okay, I train at this time. Now, fast forward to now, every single day I wake up at 4:30. I quickly take a cold shower, I prepare myself, then I go to the gym. At 5:50, I'm always in the gym at the 5:50. And the gym opens at 6 a.m. I'm just in there and I start training. Every single day, you don't have to do it as early as I do. You can go to the gym at 10 a.m. You can go to the gym after school like I used to when I was still in school. I would go to the gym exactly after school every day. When school was finished, I just went to the gym. So I would recommend you have, even if you don't go to the gym every single day, have a precise time in the day where you know, okay, I go to the gym. After this certain activity or before this certain activity, I go to the gym. It's very, very important for consistency. Third thing, training hard isn't only about intensity. I used to follow this kind of low volume, high intensity mentality in the past. So I would only do 2 sets per exercises. Only 2 sets per exercise. I would never do more than 2 sets per exercises. And I made pretty good progress from that. I gained some strength, I built some muscle from it, and it was actually beneficial to a certain extent for me. And I used to believe, okay, yeah, high volume is just for pussies, it's for people that can't train hard, who don't know how to push themselves physically, and they don't actually train to failure. So I prefer to do less sets but higher intensity. And that was the literal belief that I had. But a few months ago, I actually switched to higher volume. Like, I don't just stick with just 2 sets per exercise on every single exercise that I do. But now I do a different set. On certain exercises, I still do 2 sets. Then on certain exercises, I would do 3 sets. And on certain exercises, I would do 4. And on some exercises, but very rarely, I do 5. Like calf raises, I do 5 sets. On seated dumbbell shrugs, I do 5 sets. But it's not on many exercises. So I'll do around, for example, today, the workout that I had today, the first exercise I did was the incline press with the barbell. And I did 4 sets of that. Then I went to machine lateral raises. The machine thing there, the seated machine lateral raises. And I did 4 sets of that, so 8 sets already. Then I went to the French press with the kind of dumbbell like this behind the head. I did 4 sets of that, so it's 12. And then the last exercise I did was dips. And I literally only did 1 set of that. So in total, I did 13 sets. Usually in the past, I would do at most 10 sets. And this is like actually the workout of a week where I'll do the least amount of volume. On other workouts, I'll do maybe 12, 10 to 15, 16, 17. Like I'm not doing crazy high volume. I'm not doing 25, 30 sets per session. But it's actually higher volume. And the point I'm trying to make here is that training hard isn't only about volume. Now that I'm doing about intensity, sorry. Now that I'm doing higher volume, it's actually harder for me. Like it's actually more painful, and I'm actually more sore after the workout. Even though I'm not necessarily taking every single set to failure, but every single set is very, very close to failure. And I'll still take many sets to complete muscle failure. But the intensity, the difficulty is a lot higher. And very often, if you're doing super low volume, yeah, if you're very short in time, that's maybe a good option. But if every time after your training, the day after, even you just feel completely fine, you never get even a little bit sore, you just feel completely recovered, then there's probably some space to do more. You could do some more. You could add some sets, even if it's just 1, 2, 3, 4 sets. You could add some sets and slowly do more volume, but still fairly high intensity. I'll leave at close 2 reps in reserve after a set. I'll have at most 2 reps in reserve, never more than that. And then on some sets, I will leave 0 reps in reserve. So the intensity is still very high, but the volume is also fairly high, not crazy high. I'm not going to do an amount of volume that I can't recover from, but it's still fairly high, so that at the end of the workout, I feel like, yeah, it was difficult, and very often I'll get sore the day after. I would get sore, and sometimes I would even get cramps, like I did 3 days ago or 2 days ago. I had a really hard leg day, and I was in the tram to go to the dentist afterwards, and I got a random cramp in my leg, like a crazy cramp. I was walking and I was like, "Fuck, what the fuck is this?" I just had a random cramp, and it really fucked me up there. Fourth thing, sleep, sleep, sleep. It's super important, super super important. And the basic tip that I can give you for sleep: just allocate more time to bed. And yeah, that's basically the most important tip that I can give you. If you stay in bed for 8 hours, it doesn't mean you slept for 8 hours. You didn't sleep for 8 hours. Maybe slept for 7.5, 7:15, or even 7 hours, or even 6.5 hours if you spent 8 hours in bed. Because firstly, you don't instantly fall asleep. Secondly, you you will wake up throughout the night. Thirdly, or I almost did this. Thirdly, you have periods in the night where you're more in the deeper sleep state, and some periods in the night where you have to be in a more kind of, you could say, shallower sleep state. So if you want to sleep for 8 hours, actually, spend at least 8.5, 9 hours in bed. I spend around 9 to 10 hours in bed most days, most nights. Yesterday I slept for probably 8.5 hours in total, you could say, because I spent around 10 hours in bed. If you don't have 10 hours to allocate to bed, you can at least find maybe 8. If you spend 8 hours in bed, you might be able to get 7 hours of sleep, probably. But sleep is very important. Very often, the days where I just had a random small little injury or something like that was because didn't sleep very well the day before. Like it wasn't the only reason, but I could have prevented those three small injuries if I'd slept better the night before. So sleep is very important. 15. Warm up with 2 to 4 sets. I'll just take an example. Today, the first exercise I did was the incline press, like I told you before. The working weight, the weight that I actually used for my first set, for my first working set, my actual set, was 60 kilograms. So what I did is when I got to the bench, I first just took the empty bar, 20 kilograms, and did like 5 reps with that, 6 reps or 7 reps with that. Then I put in 60 kilograms, 60, so 20 per side, 40 plus the bar, 60. And I didn't necessarily directly do a working set. I just do like 1 to 2 reps with that to really warm up. And then I did my working set. In the past, when I first started training, I wouldn't warm up. I didn't even know the concept of warming up. Like I would literally, I remember I was training in my room, I was doing push ups, and I would just get down and start with a working set. I would just keep going, start with a working set. But that isn't necessarily a good idea because you could get injured and you'll probably not be as strong as if you warmed up first. If you just go in cold, you'll probably progression will probably be a struggle for you because you're pretty much going in cold. You're not warmed up at all. Your muscles aren't even really prepared, so the chances of injury are higher, and you probably won't be that strong. Another thing, rest days are actually important. Like I used to be a big proponent of just doing strength training every day. I still do like workout every day. I do some sort of physical activity every day, but I don't do strength training, bodybuilding workouts every single day. And I actually take I actually take 2 rest days per week. So they're not like full rest days. I still like shadow box in my room, like just alone in my room. I just shadow box on those days. But I just don't do strength training on those days, and it's actually way more. Since I've been doing this, I think doing this has helped me make even more gains recently. It's actually very effective because since my training volume has been higher now, and I also train very hard, it will create some fatigue, and I'll need to recover from that fatigue at some point. It will be difficult to just recover from it if I just train every single day. So leaving more space, spacing out my workouts just a tiny bit more has helped me drastically to actually be able to recover from my training and actually need less deloads. I haven't deloaded in actually 3 months or something like that. It's been 3 months since my last deload, and I'm still progressing. I'm still getting strength every week. I haven't hit a plateau since. And I think the fact that I have 2 rest days per week now has played a big role in me not needing a deload in the last 3 to 4 months, actually. And it's very rare. Most people will take a deload like every 2 months, probably. I actually don't need a deload. I've been progressing. I think I'll be able to progress for at least another month without needing a deload at all. So, yeah. 16, rest days. Oh, no, wait. No, 17, slow, controlled, eccentric. That's something I've been really focusing on for last year or something like that. On every single exercise that I perform, I always control the weight down like crazy. For example, on the incline press today, let's just say, I'll just take an example of how I did it. This is kind of the pace I went at on the way down, like this. I controlled the way down and then I went pretty fast on the way up. I always control the eccentric because it's actually firstly the most important part of a movement, you could say. It's actually more important, you could say, than the concentric, than pushing the weight up or something like that. It's actually been shown scientifically that it might be more important than the concentric. And secondly, if you just dump the weight down like this, it's like you don't really feel anything working. Like even if we said that, okay, the eccentric wasn't important for muscle growth, if you try both kind of training philosophies of just going super fast on the way down and controlling the way down, you will notice that the mind muscle connection on this one is always a lot better. The pump on this one is always a lot better. So even if it wasn't beneficial for muscle growth, I would still do it just to feel, just for the pleasure of feeling the muscle burning more. 18, tracking calories. During my first bulk, when I first decided to try to gain weight, I didn't track my calories. I just ate and ate and ate and ate. And it helped me. I gained some weight. Probably gained weight too quickly. Like I remember I started my bulk at the start of the summer holidays of 2022. And summer holidays lasted like 6 weeks. And during those 6 weeks, we went to Switzerland and everything. I gained 8 kilograms. So I probably gained weight a little bit too quickly. Way too quickly, probably. And at the time, it wasn't too bad, to be honest, because I didn't look that much fatter. I didn't look crazy fat. Like I didn't look like I even gained any body fat. Like literally, I didn't look like I gained any body fat. Actual fact, I haven't went to a single cut yet in my 3 years of training. Like went to a cut yet. I've been to a phase of maintenance and then bulking again. So those 36 kilograms that I gained, a chunk of it was probably fat. But still, I don't look that fat, to be honest. Like you could say that I look like a fat ass, but I probably don't look that fat. I still have fairly visible abs. I still have a fairly okay like face. My face is not too puffy, you could say. So, but yeah, I probably gained the a better way to grow a body would probably have been to just gain weight slower, like maybe 2 kilograms per month, something like that. And tracking my calories would have helped me to do that a lot easier. Even later on, as I was more busy with school and I wasn't free to just have hours and hours every day to just eat more and more and more and more. If I just track my calories, I could have maintained that bulk for longer. Because instantly as school started again, I struggled to gain weight. I couldn't gain weight anymore. Because the reason why it was really easy for me to bulk in the past during the summer holidays was because I had so much free time. But now that I didn't have that much free time because of school, I felt, eh, for some real reason, I felt because I didn't have that much time, it was more difficult for me to kind of estimate how much I actually ate, how many calories I actually ate, and if I actually was in a surplus or not. So if I just tracked my calories, it would have been a lot easier. And for the bulk that I'm currently on, and I've already gained like 3 kilograms already in the last 3 months, I've been tracking my calories. It's been very, very effective for me. So I would just recommend to just track your calories. 19, you can bulk even if you're broke. Like I won't expand on that, but even if you're broke, you can bulk. I'm broke. I don't have that much money. That can still find a way to bulk. Like I used to have this weird limiting belief that bulking is super, it has to be super expensive. Actually, it's not the case. When I actually just said, okay, I'm going to actively look to try to bulk even if I don't have that much money, I actually found ways. Their meals are fairly cheap, like rice, eggs, some type of meat are also can be fairly cheap. So rice, eggs, and meat, those are probably or the only things that I eat before dinner, and then I eat just what my mom cooks for dinner. But even if you don't have that much money, you can bulk. Don't have the excuse of, oh yeah, I don't have much money, I can't bulk. You can still find a way to bulk, even if you don't have that much money. Not tempting, progressive overload. Progressive overload is super important. And one of the reasons why I plateaued for months and months and months in the past was because I wasn't even trying to intentionally, I wasn't even aiming to progress. Because I had this belief, this mindset that bodybuilding and powerlifting are completely different. And if I want to gain muscle, I can gain muscle without getting any stronger. I can just stay at the same level of strength, use the same weights for the same amount of reps. And if I just stimulate my muscles, I can grow them bigger. Let me just give you an analogy, just an example. That if someone had just told me that analogy at some point, it probably would have clicked for me in the past. But it's a very simple example. Imagine a young guy, let's call him Tim, but it's not even important to give him a name, but let's call him Tim. He goes into the gym, he starts doing bicep curls with the barbell, or dumbbells, bicep curl. He starts and uses 10 kilograms for the first time. So he uses 5 kilograms per dumbbell to 10 in total. He does his bicep curls with good form. Then imagine fast forward 10 months. Oh no, fast forward 16 months, so 1.5 years later. Oh no, 1.5 years later, it's actually 18 months. I can't count. I can't do math. But 18 months, fast forward 18 months. You see Tim in the gym. He's doing bicep curls again with the dumbbells. He's using 5 kilograms per hand, so 10 kilograms in total. And he's doing 7 reps again, like he did 18 months ago. It's not like he's doing warm up, it's still a working set. How can Tim then be surprised? You would kind of be annoyed at Tim if afterwards in the changing room he was pissed off and saying, oh my god, my biceps aren't growing, they aren't getting any bigger. You kind of look at him kind of weird, like, are you stupid? You've been using the same weights for the last 18 months. Of course your biceps won't grow. That's kind of what you would say to Tim. In this case, if you're making the same mistake that I used to make and you're not trying to progress, you're actually Tim in that situation. You're actually exactly like Tim. You're making the same mistake as him. So you need to be progressing. Progressive overload doesn't build muscle, but it shows you that you're building muscle. It shows you that you're progressing. And for the last year, or yeah, pretty much year or 10 months, you could say, I've started actually going, yeah, 10 months around already. I've been progressively gaining strength every week. Like I had 1 week where I was hit a plateau, then I deloaded for such. There were just 2 weeks over the last, or maybe 3 weeks over the last 10 months where I wasn't gaining strength, where I wasn't getting stronger. So I've added strength to every single lift. For example, there's this exercise that I used to do, but I'm not doing it anymore. The barbell, just a basic barbell bicep curl. When I first started doing that exercise 10 months ago, like in January, I was using the bar, 20 kilograms, and I did 5 reps or something like that. I think that was the first working set I did. I used 5 reps, and I did 5 reps. Then 4 months later, I was doing bicep curls again, and I used 40 kilograms. I did 5 reps. So of course my biceps were slightly bigger when I doubled my strength on the bicep curl. And I was still using very good form. My form had actually even gotten even better over time. So of course my biceps got bigger if I'm getting stronger on an exercise that mainly works the bicep. Of course, I'm not telling you to become a powerlifter and train for powerlifting, just optimize for strength. No. But even if you're training for bodybuilding and you're doing fairly high volume and all those things, progressive overload should be there and should be seen as an indicator that you're gaining muscle. And if you stop gaining strength, you're not progressing anymore. That means you should do something about it. It may mean you need a deload, or maybe you're not doing enough volume, or you're doing too much volume, or you're not eating enough, you need to eat more. Different things, but it's a good indicator to tell you how good or how much muscle you're actually gaining. 11th thing, slow progress adds up over time. For example, on the bicep curl example that I gave you before, I wasn't gaining like adding 5 kilograms every day to my bicep curl or something like that. No, I was adding like 5 kilograms every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. But yeah, every 2 weeks, I think. So it was fairly slow progression. It wasn't crazy. It's literally after 4 months I doubled my strength. I didn't double my strength in 2 weeks. It was after 4 months of slow progression of just adding 1 rep per session. And when I reached the top end of my rep range with double progression, when I reached the top end of my rep range, which was I was using the 6 to 8 rep range. But when I reached 8 reps, I went down to I added 5 kilograms so I could go down to 6 again. I did that slow progression every single session, try to get better than I was last session by just tracking my workouts and just writing them down on the Notes app. And every single session, I just aim to do better, aim to do slightly better. Either add a little bit of some small amount of weights or add 1 rep. And over time, it added up. Or for example, with the incline press, I didn't reach 60 kilograms for 6 reps by going from 50 to then or 40 to then 60 instantly. 10 months ago, I was still using 40 kilograms on the incline press, and now I'm using, or not 10 months ago, like 7 months ago, I was using 40 kilograms on the incline press, and now I'm using 60 kilograms. But it wasn't like a big, fast jump. It was a slow progression. And I probably could have arrived here faster if I did the incline press more often, but I sometimes did other exercises for my upper chest instead of the incline press. 12th thing, watching more experienced people train can help you a lot. Something that really helped me to become better, to improve my technique, to improve my training intensity, is to simply watch other people, like more experienced people on YouTube, just watching them train. For example, there's a channel that really does this well, Renaissance Periodization, and they sometimes make videos of them to show themselves training alone, or maybe coaching other people, coaching other famous people in the fitness industry, and they give them some good cues. They force them to train really hard, and watching that really helped me because, firstly, it forced me to be introspective and think to myself, okay, do my actual working set look like that? Do I look like I'm fighting demons when I'm on leg press, for example? And if the answer was no, I knew I needed to train harder. Because when you see someone else who's training really, really hard, and you see how slow their last few reps are, and you see how in pain they are whilst training, it can, if you actually just a little bit introspective and honest with yourself, you can often see, okay, I can probably train harder. I'm probably not training that hard. My sets don't look, I don't look that, it doesn't look that uncomfortable for me. So I can probably push it a little bit harder. And even with just your technique, it really helped me with technique. Just seeing how slow, how they went slow on the way down, or they went fast on the way up, how they went through like a full range of motion on every exercise. It really, really helped me. And actually, I have a video of me training in my room here called Pull Workout in My Bedroom. Like, I don't usually train in my room, but that day there was like a problem in my gym, and the people working there weren't there, so it was closed. So I just decided to train at home. I just literally recorded it so you can go watch it afterwards. 13th thing, more tension at the stretch. So most exercises, I think it's been shown scientifically that exercises where there's more tension or more resistance towards the stretch position are better. So I'll take an example. The reason why I stopped doing the barbell curl, it isn't a bad exercise, but for example, on the way down or at the most stretched position, there's pretty much zero tension on the biceps, for example. But now compared to the exercises that I do now for biceps, the two exercises that I now do for biceps are, I think, the preacher curl with the dumbbell preacher curl, and then the cable Bayesian curl. Both of those exercises put a lot of pressure towards the most stretched position at the end of the eccentric, and have fairly low amount of resistance at the contracted position. So that's why they actually switched those exercises. Not that the barbell curl is a bad exercise in any way. No, it's actually a very good exercise. But I just thought to myself, okay, those exercises are actually just slightly better and can probably give me a little bit more muscle growth because they put more tension and resistance towards the stretched position, you could say. 14th point, being open-minded. I used to have this weird belief when I started training that machines were for pussies, for bitches, and that real men train with barbells. Sometimes dumbbells, but mostly barbells. That was a weird belief that I had. So I used to just try to only do barbell exercises, to do machine exercises as rarely as I could. But that was just some weird black and white belief that I had, which was pretty dumb, and I wasn't open-minded. But over time, I've become more open-minded with different things. It was literally just 10 months ago I had that belief. 10 months ago, I had this weird belief. But I slowly switched and started just being more open-minded. I still use machines now. Like, I don't only do machines, I also use barbells, I also use dumbbells. But I'm actually open-minded to different things, and that I don't have this weird, like, I don't have weird set in stone beliefs when it comes to training. I'm open to changing my beliefs, and that's something that really helped me. Because some of the exercises that gave me the most growth were machine exercises. For example, my side delts, they've it got pretty big over the last few months. And I never really did a barbell exercise for side delts. There isn't really a barbell exercise for side delts, or you could do like upright row or something like that. But the exercise that grew my shoulders really well over the last few months were literally cable exercises, cable lateral raises. And right now I'm also doing machine lateral raises. Like, I don't do any dumbbell or barbell exercises for my side delts right now. Or even for hamstrings. A lot of my muscle growth came from lying leg curls or seated leg curls. Both of them really helped me to grow my hamstrings a lot. And of course, I also do exercises like hip hinges exercises like Romanian deadlift or back extension for my hamstrings. But I'm open-minded. I think to myself, okay, I could get some good quad, or you could say quad hamstring growth from machine exercises. I don't have to be so rigid and think to myself, okay, no, I only use barbells, and real men only use barbells and machines and dumbbells for pussies. No. I just think to myself, okay, how can I grow the most muscle possible? And if machines have to be in the equation, I would do them. And they're actually I've been enjoying them more lately, machines, because in the past I used to believe that, oh yeah, machines weren't fun to use or something like that, but they're actually very fun. They can be very fun to use if you use a good machine that's actually fun to use. For example, the leg press, or even for quads. For quads, I basically only use machines. I do leg press and Smith machine squats. Literally, those are the two exercises I do for my. I also do like CC squat and reverse Nordic curl actually. But for the big quad compounds, I do leg press, Smith machine squat. Those are literally the two exercises I do. 15th thing, you don't need to react to your emotions. This is a little bit more I can't talk. Philosophical. It's more about life in general, but it's also really, really applies to the gym. There will be days in your life when you start training where you don't feel like going to the gym, where you just feel like just staying in bed, not going to the gym. And I had those days. There's sometimes there will be days in the future where I won't really feel like going to the gym. But you know what? Even on those days, I still go. I don't even contemplate or even consider those emotions, those feelings, or those thoughts. I just do what I gotta do anyways. Emotions, I really like this analogy. Emotions are simply like clouds passing in the sky. You don't need to react to them. You don't need to give them a reaction. You can just simply see them and ignore them. If you get the thought of, oh yeah, I don't want to go to the gym, I prefer to play video games or sit in my room and just lay in bed with my blanket protecting me and being sweaty whilst watching some random YouTube videos. Yeah, you can get that feeling. And that's completely normal. That's completely outside of your control. But you can then say, okay, it's a feeling, it's a thought. I don't need to react to it. And you go get yourself ready, shower, and then go to the gym anyways, even though you didn't want to. Even this morning, I didn't want to leave my bed. Like I woke up at 4:30. For the first few milliseconds, I just had a random when my alarm clock rang. I had a random thought of, oh yeah, just stay in bed. But I've now gotten to a point where I didn't even spend 1 second, extra second in bed. The second my alarm clock rang and I got that thought, I just left. I just stood up quickly, took my phone, did my bed, went into the shower. Because it's become a habit of doing that. But even then, I will have some times where I will react to my emotions, even emotions that don't align to my values or things that I actually want to do. But I've gotten a lot better at this skill. So you don't have to react to your emotions. 16th thing, socialize in the gym. When I first started training at the gym around 10 months ago, because I trained for longer, but I used to train at home. But it was only January of this year that I actually started training at a gym. And I was always just kind of, when I first started training, I just went in, didn't make eye contact with anyone, didn't talk to anyone. I just had my earphones in and just sit there at the machine, not look at anyone, be kind of this weird antisocial guy. And I used to have this weird excuse of, okay, I just want to stay focused. I don't want my workouts to be disturbed or something like that. That was just a weird belief. And I'm really thankful that just a few months after that, I started actually socializing more in the gym, talking to people, having conversation in the gym, greeting everyone that I see. Fast forward to now, I'm super social in the gym. I'll talk to anyone. I don't even have my earphones in. I don't listen to music in the gym. I'm just there, present. I'll speak to someone there. I'll start a conversation there. I'll greet every single one I see. And it's a lot more enjoyable. When you're that loner who just comes in the gym with a hoodie, with his earphones on, and you don't even speak to anyone, and you never even make eye contact with anyone, it isn't a very fun and enjoyable experience. It's just weird. Even you feel like a weird monkey. You feel like weird, antisocial. It's not really that enjoyable. And if I had to compare both realities, first one, the reality where I sit there and I never talk to anyone, and even if that weird excuse was actually true, and I was less focused on my workouts if I was doing that, even though it's not even the case, I'm actually more focused when I talk to more people. But even if it was the case, I would rather be this guy who's social in the gym, who laughs with people, who starts conversation, who greets everyone he sees, who's always smiling in the gym, even if I had a little bit like 5% less gains from it, than to be this guy, was this antisocial guy who never speaks to anyone, who's just a loner, who just does his thing and then leaves. This reality is thousand times better. Even if in a weird reality, it gave me less gains. Because I look forward to my workouts more now. I look forward to going to the gym because I know I'll see some people that I like. I'll start some conversation there. I'll have my friend workout and I'll just walk around smiling, greeting people, making eye contact with people, smiling at people, waving at people. I'll see someone across the gym that I know, I'll just wave at them like this. Those are the type of things I would never do before. I would never do this kind of things before. Like, just waving my hand at a random guy across the gym, or smiling at someone starting a random conversation, or go up to someone and say, bro, you're strong. Like, I did this recently. I saw a guy who was really strong. He was doing a lot of raises with dumbbells with like 30 kilograms per hand. And it was really impressive. Of course, he wasn't using the best technique, but still, it was very impressive. And I just went up to him and literally said it to him, that's crazy. That's really strong. How long have you been training for? And we had like a 2-minute conversation quickly, and then I went back to my workout. But I then went back with a smile, more confident, more enthusiastic about life afterwards. I'll see like a few months ago, I saw a grandpa, and he was really flexible, and I'd seen that guy many times in the gym, and I was always really impressed because even though he's like in his 70s, he's still very flexible. And one day, we were in the locker room, and I just told him, bro, you're really flexible. And I don't really remember the exact conversation we had because it was like 5 months ago. But I remember he left with a massive smile on his face. And even I was more happy after that conversation. Or even recently, I had a random conversation with a grandpa. And the day where I recorded that full pull workout in my bedroom video, I arrived at the gym and we were waiting for the people working in the gym to come, but they didn't come. So we waited for like 1 hour. And during that whole hour, I just had a conversation with a random grandpa there in my gym. We just have a long conversation. I asked him about his life. He's retired and everything. And he told me about his house. He showed me some picture of his big, massive house that he has. And we had a fun conversation there. But that would have never happened if I didn't become the type of person who just greets everyone in the gym, who's just smiling, who just speaks to everyone. It's a way better experience. 17th thing. Remember you're going to train for the rest of your life. Building muscle is a slow process, and it can be very demotivating. It can be very painful to wait, to be patient when it comes to getting gains. But you don't have any other choice. Even if you're on steroids, it will still take some time to gain muscle. It will still require a lot of patience to really build a good physique. And especially if you're natural, which I hope you are, it will take a long time to really build and see good progress. And a mindset that really helped me to never really struggle with impatience in my lifting journey, you could say, is just to remember and constantly remind myself, I'm going to be training for the rest of my life. I will never stop training. And when I reminded myself of that, it instantly just puts me in a state of, oh yeah, okay, why be in a rush? Of course, I still train really hard to make as much gain, as fast as possible as a natural lifter. But still, when I have this mindset and I really remind myself of that, it's just like, okay, yeah, I don't need to necessarily be in a rush. I don't need to necessarily be depressed because I'm not gaining muscle every single day or something like that. Compare that to the past, before I actually started really training regularly, when I was like 14, 13 years old, I wanted to build a good physique then. I wanted to get jacked, become muscular. But I always had this belief of, okay, I'd watch some videos of people telling me, okay, how long it takes to build a really good physique. And they would say, okay, it takes 3 to 5 years. And when I heard that, it always demotivated me, and I was like, okay, fuck it. If it's gonna take 3 years, then I don't want to start it because it's too long. I'm not patient enough to do that. The thing is, those 3 years are gonna pass anyways. And the only difference between the reality where you actually took the jump and started actually training regularly, and the reality where you just said, okay, yeah, it's gonna take too long. I'm not gonna bother to try to build a good physique. Is that after those 3 years, if you actually started and made the jump, you can look back and see the amazing physique you've built over those 3 years. But in the other reality, 3 years later, you look the exact same, if not even worse. So what are you gonna choose? Which reality are you gonna choose? Just constantly remind yourself you're in this game for the rest of your life. I actually expect you, I hope you actually are, because I don't think you plan to train for 3 years and then stop training or something like that. Because if you stop training, most of them that muscle's gonna go away. So what's the point then? If you just want to start training, I expect you to just keep training for the rest of your life. And if that's the case, you need to be constantly reminding yourself of that. If you don't want to get into those phases of this weird depression of body dysmorphia, being sad and depressed because that guy is bigger than you. I went through those periods, even not fairly recently. I had some small periods where I was kind of more depressed about my physique because I'd seen a guy in my gym who was bigger than me. Also, I've seen a few people in my gym who were bigger than me, and I was sat there being depressed. But at the same time, those people train for a long, like they've been training for a lot longer than I do. For example, that guy in the gym who was doing a lot of raises with the 30 kilograms, even though it wasn't the best form, he'd been training for 10 years. If I sit here and constantly compare myself with him, even though I've been training for 2 years, of course I'm gonna feel bad. But yeah, remember, remind yourself, you're in this game for the long run. You're in this game for the rest of your life, not just for 2 years or 3 years. So yeah, I hope you found this video valuable. It was really, really enjoyable for me to record this. And if you want to book like a free coaching call with me, you want more help from me, like a free coaching call, you literally free, you don't have to pay at all. Just click the first link in the description. And if you want to follow me on Twitter to ask me some random questions, just click the second link in the description. Don't worry from discomfort, chase it.